Hey guys, what is going on? Really short tutorial here on chord stabs and perhaps some melodic sequences we can consider incorporating into our production. I'm going to play out this section and then we can get started. If you're digging some of the sounds in this tutorial, then be sure to download your free Serum preset pack. Links are in the description. All right, you get the picture. Let's focus on this section here, specifically the stabs here. This is the section I wanted to go over. So really simple here. We have 3 chords. Let me just engage these notes here for clarity. So the first chord is an F minor 7th chord followed by an A flat major 7th and the C minor 7th chord. So during the music production phase, maybe you're struggling to figure out which chord tones to use, which notes to use of a particular scale. Forget about the scale for now and think more about the chord. So this F minor chord here would really look something like this. So we have the root, minor 3rd, and the 5th. So we're pretty much building out this sequence primarily using chord tones. So you can see I have the F here, which is the root, and of course the A flat, which falls right within the triad here. So that means we're pretty much safe. Same thing for this second chord here. We have the A flat. The next note in the triad would be the C, followed by the E flat, and then the G. So this would be the A flat major 7th. So you can see that we have a B flat here and an E flat. So this E flat falls right within the triad. So this should sound good, but this B flat now, well, it doesn't really fit, right? So this is what you call extensions. This would be the 9th of the chord. I'll get into this a little later, but for the most part, the takeaway here is to use chord tones. The obvious choice here would probably be to use something more along this line, maybe the A flat here, which is the root, and that falls within the triad, but I'm going to keep this at the B flat here. I'll explain why I've made this choice, all right? So for the 4th chord here, we have the C, which falls on the triad, so that works really well. And then finally, we have the G, right? So this should work well once we hit the 2nd chord here in our sequence, which is the A flat major 7th. Let's move on to the C chord here. We have the C. The next note in the sequence would be the E flat and then followed by the G. And I guess you can include the B flat here. The C is definitely a part of the sequence, so we're safe. The E flat. And sometimes I do this just to make sure that whatever melody I'm coming up with corresponds to the underlying chord. This is a neat little trick to use so that your melodies correspond with the underlying chord. Let's move on to this note. You'll see that it is definitely a part of the chord. And then the C is obviously the root. Same thing for this G. We have it running all along, the B flat, and then finally the minor 3rd of the chord and the 5th, right? Coming back to this B flat here, let me mute all of these guys. We're just using them as guides. And so this is the sequence. Now to come back to this B flat here, the reason I decided to keep this here, not only is it the 9th of the chord, but it also stands out. So if I were to play it safe and leave this to be an A flat, let's play it in the sequence here, and you'll notice that it kind of disappears. Versus this. Now, to me, this stands out a whole lot more, and it adds a little bit of color to the sound, as opposed to all right, let's bring in the bass here and see what it sounds like in the mix. All right, let's play that 9. Super subtle, but it makes a difference. All right, so the takeaway here is when you're constructing melodies, it's probably a good idea to rely primarily on those chord tones. You know, jazz musicians call those notes sweet notes. These are the ones that sound grounded. It sounds like the melody actually belongs and corresponds with the underlying chord. You can always use the root, the third, the fifth, sometimes the seventh. And in this case, we're using the ninth here just to make the chord pop out a little more. All right. Anyways, that's it for this tutorial, guys. I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.